welcome to livealittlehigher.com. We continue learning Hovos Halevavot, duties of the heart, and we're in the gate of abstinence. And today Rabbi Bahia is talking to us about a type of person that abstains from the world because he has not such good intentions. So he says that those who abstain in order to secure some worldly advantage, who abstain with their limbs but not inside in their hearts, constitute these classes. And the first of these consists of individuals who restrain themselves from obtaining some of the pleasures they desire in order to be renowned for their abstinence and lauded for religiosity and piety. So this is a type of person that has an ultimate desire. He has an agenda, a personal agenda, a selfish agenda, and he decides to show the world that this is a very pious human being, he's very holy, he abstains from the world, he has no interest in the material world. But in reality, it's just like a facade. It's like a wolf with sheepskin. And we have to be very careful to not fall into this type of people that seem very pious and very holy and very humble, but in reality they're not. And so he says they're the worst among all classes of human beings. Like, this is the worst of the worst of the worst, because this is a person that is posing as something that he's not. He's a fraud, or as they call them today, a person that makes people believe that there's something and they're not. And their tongue is a sharp arrow. It speaks deceit. With his mouth one speaks peace to his fellow, while inwardly he lays an ambush for him. And this is in Yirmiyahu. He talks about another type of person, which consists of an individual who have acquired a certain amount of worldly wealth. This is a person that has money in the bank. He is not a poor person. He's not lacking anything in the material sense, but he's lacking in trust to Hashem. And this type of people that don't have trust in God, they restrict their consumption and curb their desire, claiming that it is abstinence that moves them to do so. So they're stingy human beings, they're greedy, they want a bank account that is full of money, but they don't want to spend it, they don't want to give, they're not generous human beings, they're not there to help other people, they just want to amass riches, and they don't even have the ability to enjoy what they have. It's very sad. Like, Hashem gives them all this wealth, and they don't share it with anybody, and they cannot enjoy it themselves. There's a story that comes to mind of the Kotzker Rebbe, of a man that was a very rich man, and he came to the Kotzker Rebbe and he says, oh, I decided that I'm gonna become a very pious human being, a very humble person. I'm gonna dedicate my life to living in a very ascetic way. I'm only gonna eat bread and drink water during the week, and only on Shabbat and the Yom Tov I'm gonna have a grand meal. But for the rest of the week I'm gonna be very, very humble. And the Kotzker Rebbe admonished him. He says, what do you think? Like, a poor person is gonna knock on your door and he's gonna tell you that he's hungry. What are you gonna give him to eat? Water and bread. He doesn't want water and bread. He wants a hot soup. He wants a hot meal. He wants chicken. He wants potatoes. Like, if you dedicate yourself to being this ascetic type of human being, you're not gonna be able to develop empathy towards other people and what they need. And he admonished him. So this type of abstinence is not a good type of abstinence, because this is a person that really the only thing he likes is to have possessions and have money, but he's not a person that is willing to share it and have satisfaction from what Hashem has given him. And of such people, the wise one said, a man to whom God gives wealth, possessions, and honor, who lacks nothing for himself of all that he desires, but the Almighty does not give him the power to enjoy it. So yes, it's not only having money and being at work and earning, but to also have the bracha, the blessing, that you can enjoy what you have. And the third class that he talks about an individual who have been unable to attain any wealth. This is the opposite. This is a person that has not been able to acquire wealth in his life. He hasn't been able to have money to subsist, and he decides that he needs to maintain his honor, and because of that, he prefers to live a life of suffering and not have food in his house and not have decent clothes, because he doesn't have the humility to go and ask for help, and he prefers to be dignified but die of hunger. And here Rabbi Bahia is also saying this is not a good trait. This is not a good trait. If a person is suffering and he needs money to survive, he needs to go and ask for help. This is a Jewish concept, like you need a giver, you need a receiver, but in the end, the receiver is giving the giver the opportunity to be a giver, and this is the order of the world. So this person that prefers not to beg for help, not to ask for help, and he prefers to ascribe to this way of life of abstinence, and he's saying, no, I'm living a life of abstinence. In reality, is not a good trait. So Rabbi Bahia says, when you wish to determine whether a person is sincere in his claim to abstinence, does he undertake it to promote himself religiously or for some worldly advantage, test him by the conditions essential to perfect abstinence. That this is not what is perfect abstinence. This is not normal. If you have, you have. If you don't have, you don't have. But you cannot live a life of deprivation if you have, and you cannot live a life of deprivation if you don't have either, because there's needs in our lives that we need. And we have to have the ability to be humble enough to ask for help or to be able to give when we do have, acknowledging that everything we own is not something that we made for ourselves, but Hashem gave to us. So I want to wish you a blessed week, and remember, live a little higher. Thank you.